Hey story fans, it's your old pal the Writing Rev. I don't hate, I just officiate your favorite Star Wars. Season 1 of The Acolyte is all wrapped up, but instead of going through the episodes that I haven't covered yet and calling each individual penalty on it, I'm going to stick to one type of penalty, the contrivance penalty. The Britannica definition of a contrivance is something that causes things to happen in a story in a way that does not seem natural or believable. So you could say, The Acolyte is full of moments which
some consider to be unnatural.
The penalty of the contrivance happens so often that we can do a speed run through them. We'll do that right after the intro.
Why did you say that there?
It's his mother's name.
That's a lot of fish.
Alright, welcome back. Let's go to the Geonosia Serena for the call. I want to explain the hand signals for this one. This rising arc right here will be for the typical plot line, which if it was, good, it would continue in a circle. Instead, the contrivance is going to cause it to hit a wall and then cause disbelief among the viewer or reader. So here's what the call looks like and sounds like. Plot contrivance on the Acolyte, multiple infractions, results in audience confusion and frustration following this. So instead of making that call several times, I'm going to show you each instance.
And I want to go home to Coruscant.
My Padawan is too distracted.
I want to return to Coruscant.
We have interfered too much already.
Will they let us come home at least?
We just need proof of a virgin, and those girls are the proof. This is our ticket home.
We thought we were doing the right thing.
Coruscant 5112 to Pilot GX8, you are cleared for transmission.
Do you want to take a look?
But I'm not now. You can tell me.
You just scratched my ride.
What the hell are you doing, Tommy?
Driving, bitch.
Now, all of these contrivances, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. Now, my theory is, unconfirmed, that this show seemed like it was a movie written for about 2 to 2.5 hours. And they were anticipating shooting a movie at some point because it was a new era, and they decided to go with the really old Republic movie instead of this one, and then they made this one a television show. But in doing that, they brought in a team of writers to try to extend it enough to make a show out of, and then if they didn't have enough, they decided they'd chop it up. Well, the problem is, you have several instances, like we just showed, of characters not explaining themselves when they would, making flip-flopping decisions, or just making decisions out of nowhere for no other purpose except to extend the plot. Dan Murrell, one of the most prominent YouTube critics, put it this way.
I'm glad Return of the Jedi gave Luke an entire movie to grapple with the revelation that Darth Vader was his father. I think if it were made today, they might have saved that revelation for the last movie in the trilogy and maybe hinted at it in The Empire Strikes Back. But I think that Jedi is a much, much better movie because we start out with Luke knowing that information and dealing with it the entire time.
I'll never join you! If you only knew the power of one. The power of two, the power of many. No! No!
And I agree. If this writing team had been responsible for the reveal of Darth Vader, they would have held it to the very end. Now, plot contrivances can be easily avoided with a little more thought, a little editing, or maybe someone going over your draft. I realize if you're spending $120 million on a project, that you get to a certain point, you can't go backwards. And yet, still, there should have been a process with this team of writers that undid any groupthink. So let's take two of these plot contrivances. The first one will be the entire plot of Episode 6. Wouldn't have need to happen if you made it clear that May's motivation at some point was now to kill Sol. And she would have done that by not sneaking up behind him while he's at the controls like an amateur. I mean, she often seems like an amateur when she's trying to take on Jedi Masters. She should have been the one to cut the power first, making the ship dark as they were in space. Then you could have had this tense scene of May hunting Sol, and Basil could have popped out to warn him. And that would have accomplished the inability for Sol to contact the Jedi. Maybe he had to get the ship off planet first to get a signal. That could make sense. But other than that, the ship was completely not damaged in any way, and we have no reason to think that the power would fail or that he could suddenly not contact the Jedi with a good signal. Just this little tweak, but then you don't have the whole episode, so what do you do with that time? Well, you have a whole episode earlier where you show May's training as a Jedi.
I meant OSHA.
Don't start her off as some mechanic on a ship where we don't understand what's going on. You start her off at the temple on Coruscant, going to her last day of training, facing her final trial and failing. That way we understand and are shown that her motivation and her frustration at not being able to accomplish her dream. Let's do one more example from the final episode where Basil, for some reason, just comes up and disables the ship right as Sol is about to do something with a targeting system. Some people say he was trying to lock on a tractor beam. It seems that way to me. Some people thought he was trying to kill May, which doesn't make sense for his character, but who knows in this show. Basil is a character that has no motivations. He's there just to be cute and then be a plot device. And that is an egregious writing sin. If Basil is going to be the one that causes May to be able to get away for a little bit, then he needs to have developed some kind of friendship with May, something of that nature. So that's a tougher rewrite than the other example that I just did, but it's also worth it to write a better character and use his sense of smell better. And in a way, that connects the two contrivances that I just talked about. If you have Basil be a better character at the beginning of episode 6, and then maybe show him feeling sorry for May being strapped down, maybe show Basil hearing this whole story of what really happened, and maybe feeling like he needs to help May because of what happened, you could show all that even though Basil doesn't talk. So a lot of contrivances around Basil, and that's on top of everything else. But you solve those two things, you solve a lot of story with this. We'll keep talking about the Acolyte for a few more videos. So stick around, subscribe to get those. Make sure you like and share this video, because I'd like to get to a whole 69 subscribers. 6,900 would be a lot better. I've been the Writer Ref, and that's been The Call.